Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Harry Potter's home. This is, of course, the house that the story begins in, his childhood home, where he's kind of living under the stairs. This isn't where he finally ends up, this is where everything kicks off. And as a small added detail, this is the flying car out of the films. This isn't, of course, Harry's car, but I just thought it'd be a nice touch to add to the actual house. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This has had quite a few requests, so I thought that I'd make it. Plus, I enjoy the Harry Potter films. I don't read, so I don't enjoy the books, but I'm sure they're very good as well. If you do enjoy this content, please do remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. I really would. If you do have any more suggestions for other cartoon and movie and related houses and stuff like that, then please leave those down below. And of course, if you want to check out more cartoon and movie and whatever related builds, check out the card system in the description below. I would highly recommend the cartoon builds playlist. But without any further ado, let me show you how to make this thing. So before we start building, I should tell you that this house will fit into roughly a 22 block coming across by a 23 block going towards the back area. Now, we do actually need more space than this. You see, we have a driveway and we have a back garden and stuff, but those can either be left out or added in differently or made different shapes, so the base house will require roughly this amount of space, but use your own discretion. I'd leave more room than this. We will also need every single material that you can see in my inventory right now, every single one of them, so make sure you got them all and we can begin. I'm going to grab this top row right here, and this is what we'll start things off with. So we're going to begin the house with a row of 12 birch wood planks starting from this front left hand corner. I'm going to go 12 up from this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm then going to go right by 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to connect all the way down to the ground like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up in front of this row of birchwood, and I want to do a row of 5 birchwood planks coming upwards from this bottom block. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. I then want to go right of that 5th block by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want to connect down to the ground just like that. And what I can also actually do is I can take this 6th block and going backwards, I want to do 3 upper right diagonals, so towards the back of the build, 1, 2, 3. I then want to go right by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I want to do 3 bottom right diagonals. Actually, yeah, I want to do 3 bottom right diagonals. That's 1, 2, and 3. And that 3rd one should be connected all the way down to the ground, like this. And what we can even do is we can fill in the outside part of this using birch wood planks. So we're just going to completely fill the right hand side of this in using birch wood planks, as you can see me doing right now. And later on, we will be doing a little bit more with this. But for now, we're actually just going to kind of leave this as sort of like a hollow shell, which sounds kind of awful, but that's kind of what it is. So the next thing that we're going to do is we want to take the, it's kind of hard to describe, but you know the 15th block that we extended to the right and then hit the ground with? Well, we want to take this 15th block, this one, and we want to do 8 upright diagonals going towards the back of the house. So that will look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to go right by 1, and then we're going to do 8 bottom right diagonals. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to connect all the way down to the ground from that 8th diagonal, like that. And what we also want to do is we want to take that 8th diagonal and you can actually extend it across the back of the house like this. And the goal is to connect it to the top front left hand corner of the house. So like this, creating a right angle. You can then connect this back corner of the build down to the ground, like so. And then we want to copy the shape that we have on the opposite side of the house there. So we want to copy that shape onto this side. So that means taking any one of the corners, the front left or back left hand corner, and we want to do 8 diagonals coming up towards the middle center. So we want to like take this diagonal and we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just as we did on the opposite side, and then we want to extend it to the right by 1, and then we just want to do diagonals. We don't have to count these out until we will eventually hit the equal place on the front of the house. So we'll just have something which should look like that. Now, the left-hand side of the build actually has no detail, so we're going to completely fill this left-hand side of the build in using birch wood planks. The right-hand side of the build also doesn't have detail, but it is slightly trickier, and the reason for that is because there is a garage on the right-hand side of the house. You might have saw that at the start of the video. And so that means that we don't have to fill the entire right wall of the house in. It just means that we have to fill in around the garage, and we also have to fill in the garage itself. But you know, we'll tackle that problem when we come to it, because we don't really want to do the garage just yet. But I do kind of want to fill in that opposite side of the house, because it'd actually be a large chunk of area of the house completely filled in, which would be quite nice. I kind of like doing things that way. I kind of like, you know, finishing one particular side almost entirely and then moving on to another side and kind of like rotating around. I don't know, that's just kind of how I like to build. I like to have like little specific jobs to do. So that's the left hand side completely filled in with birchwood planks. And I'll tell you what, we can come to the right hand side, yeah? The back of the garage, aka this row of like 5 birchwood, wants to be extended towards a house, and it wants to connect to the house. Like it's a part of the house, the garage, right? So it wants to connect like this, if you can visualize it. And all of these rows of birchwood want to connect to the house, and they want to be built up in such a way that it would be logical for a garage to connect to a house. So you just want to like extend it towards where the wall is and connect it to the wall at the back like this. So you can kind of see how this would go, right? And what that would mean is we can then just fill in the right wall of the house almost completely. So we just want to fill in around the garage on the right hand side of the house, and I'll show you what that means, like fill in around the garage, because you don't have to do it all, right? So you can imagine that the garage is going to like take up this amount of space in the wall. So you can like take the edges of the birch wood and you can kind of just extend them towards the house if you're kind of like trying to figure out how much of the house has to be filled in using birchwood planks. So you can kind of extend it towards a house like that, and then it gives you kind of like an idea of how much has to be left open and how much doesn't have to be left open. So you can kind of see here like the roof's going to go on top of the garage as well also. So that just leaves this area just up above the roof of the garage, which just has to be filled in with birchwood planks. And I'll tell you guys what, after we've filled in this right hand side, I think what we'll do is we'll tackle the back part of the house, because there's not a massive amount of detail on the back of the house. There's basically a couple of windows and a conservatory, which is basically just a big fancy glass room that people like to drink tea in on the back garden. So this is what we want to have so far. We have a couple of the walls of the house all built up, and we have the garage area built up too. So if you come to the back part of the house, so this is of course the back part of the house. I'm sure you guys know which side is which by now. Well, what we want to do is we want to start at the very bottom left hand side of the house where we have this birchwood plank, and we want to go to the right of this plank by 3 using once again the birch wood. 1, 2, 3. We are then going to place 3 rows of glass coming up from those last 2 blocks. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. We then want to do 4 rows of birch wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 additional rows of glass. 1, 2, and 3. You should hit the top of the back of the house like this. You also want to take your dark oak wood slabs and you want to place a layer of slabs in front of the bottom half of the windows. And when I say in front of the bottom half of the windows, I do literally mean like in front of the glass. Now, if we come to the very bottom right-hand side of the back of the house, and we take the very bottom right-hand corner block, which is this one, we want to move left from this, and we want to place a birchwood plank, and then we have to grab 2 more materials. So I'm going to chuck the dark oak wood door and the brown concrete away. I'm going to grab block of quartz and some quartz slab. Coming outwards from this birch, we want to place 3 block of quartz. 1, 2, 3. We then, as we're looking at the ground, want to place 2 bottom left diagonals, moving left, 1, 2. We want to move left by 4 actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do 2 inward left diagonals, 1, 2. And then we want to connect back to the house. Of course, we can't really connect back to the house because, you know, there's nothing here, but you can place like a birchwood plank, and then you can connect it to the left, like this. So that's the sort of shape that we're looking for. On top of each and every quartz block, place 2 rows of glass. So simply just place 2 rows of glass on top of the quartz block that we have here. This is the conservatory, and like I said, if you don't know what a conservatory is, I'm sure you do. It's basically just like a part of your house that usually sticks out the back. It's made out of like plastic and glass, pretty much, and it's just, you know, kind of like a nice area to get some, drink tea, watch TV, that sort of stuff. So once you've placed the second layer of glass, we're just going to place a layer of quartz slabs on top of the glass itself, like this. And then what we actually want to do next is we want to, 1 row inwards and above, we want to place an additional layer of quartz slab that gently moves upwards, that does not connect at the corners. And by not connect at the corners, I of course like it wants to look like this. And then we want to place an additional layer on top. Once again, quartz slabs, it doesn't want to connect at the corners. This time it will look like a bit of a U shape, like this. And then we're going to place an additional layer, like so. Once again, it looks like an ever so slightly smaller U. And then we're going to finish this off by simply placing, I guess a quartz slab is where this ends, just a quartz slab poking out at the top like that. We want to create a way to get in and out of the conservatory, so we're going to just knock out a 2-block gap here, and you may want to place a door here, so like an iron door, something like that. Typically speaking, there would be, of course, a floor in the conservatory, so you may want to dig out the base of this, as it is going to be highly visible. Considering the fact that like it's glass, you're going to be able to see into it. You may want to add in a floor. Quartz would work very nicely, or perhaps you want something a bit warmer, maybe like your dark oak wood planks or something like that. But whatever you decide, you know, something like this is what we should end up with. Once you've done that, you can then proceed to just completely fill in the rest of the back of the house. As far as I can tell, you know, there's not a massive amount going on back here, and trust me, I did do my research. I don't think there's anything going back on. From the films, I actually had to do a lot of research. I didn't watch the films again, but I didn't know that there was like a conservatory back here. But apparently, so there is. So I've added one, and it looks quite similar to this. So this wants to be completely filled in using the birch wood, and you may want to usually the area wouldn't be open, like from the conservatory into like the house, so you may want to create a bit of a wall here, and you might just want to have like just an entrance leading into the house. Sometimes the entrance would be open, but typically speaking, like usually there would be a door to like conserve heat and stuff, but you know, that's completely up to you whether you want to add that, what you think it would look like. But once you've done all of that, you should end up with something that should look like this. So, once you've got that sorted out, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to move towards the front of the house, because of course there's more to do. So, on the front of the house, to discard the door and quartz for a while, I'm going to grab brown concrete and tripwire hooks. So, the front of the garage has a big hole in it. We're going to place brown concrete 1 row inwards from the open space of the garage, and we're just going to fill from top to bottom a layer of brown concrete to create a garage door. We want to take the middle block at the top of the brown, and we want to move 1 row down and place a tripwire hook. That is like how you would open the garage door. Very simple. What we then want to do is we want to add detail to the front of the house. How shall we best do this? Okay, so we're going to start from the very bottom front left-hand corner of the house, the very first block that we actually placed making this. And we want to place a row of a row of 4 birchwood planks going right of this block. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the last 3 blocks, stack a row of glass, 1, 2, and 3. Then place 2 additional rows, 1, 2. Then 4 rows of birch, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 3 rows of glass, 1, 2, and 3. Go right of those last 3 rows of glass by 7 using birchwood planks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then, of course, we're just going to fill all of these in using the birchwood planks. We then want to add a row of 2 glass going right, 1, 2, and then a row of birchwood planks to connect to the right of the build, like so. We then want to underneath the window, the very first window that we placed, I know that we're kind of jumping back and forth, aren't we? But we want to take the area underneath the very first window that we placed, and we want to continue going right of it, and we want to place a row of 3 birchwood planks on the floor going right, 1, 2, and 3. We then want to build up a row of 4 dark oakwood planks coming up from the ground, 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to move to the right of that 4th block by 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And then we want to connect all the way down to the ground using dark oakwood planks. We then want to take the block that hit the ground and we want to extend it to the right using birch wood. 1, 2, 3, 4 should hit the right hand side. And we want to take the 3rd block there and we want to place 3 glass coming up from it. 1, 2, and 3. So the result of all of this messing around should look like this. And what we can now do is we can add in some additional details, right? So you can grab your dark oakwood door and you can add a door in the actual doorway to the house, and you can place a brown concrete directly above it. You can completely fill in the front of the house using birch wood planks, and then we can apply detail around these. And once you have completely filled in like the front of this area using birchwood planks, we can then add in some detail, like I said. So there's some potted plants, there's like some drain pipes, there's, you know, a little bit of a roof going on, there's all sorts of stuff. So we now, once you've filled it in using birchwood planks, want to take every window and we want to place at the bottom of the window dark oakwood slab and at the top of the window dark oakwood slab. So literally in front of the glass itself, you want to add these minor details. The only way that you might not want to add one at the top is where you have this small window to the side of the door. You may just want to add one at the bottom, like that. What we're now going to do is we are going to take the top front right hand corner of the garage, which is this block right here. I'm sure you guys will find it. Place a dark oakwood stairs in front of this and extend that dark oakwood stair all the way to the left until it is in line with the actual left hand side of the doorway. You then want to extend it to the left by an additional 2 rows, 1 and 2. So you want to have this. What we're then going to do is we are going to place a row of dark oakwood stairs, 1 row above and inside of that previous row. So just like that, we just want to place these stairs. We're going to fill in this small gap here on the left using dark oakwood slabs to create a plank to connect things together. And we are also going to simply place a dark oakwood fence in this position as well, because it's kind of like a porch area. We want it to connect together. We also want to place a row of dark oakwood fence in this position in front of the left hand side of the garage, connecting the top to the bottom. And we also want to place fence in this position, going all the way up from, like, as if we've like built up from the ground. We want to continue it up and we want to come all the way up to the top. Although this actually doesn't work very well, to be honest with you, and the reason being is that all we have to do is just place a row of dark oakwood stairs in front of the very top Yeah, you see, that's kind of how it doesn't work, and that's also, I'm realizing that's why I didn't place slabs. We want to place a row of dark oak wood stairs coming across the top front of the build as well, and I'm going to remove the dark oak wood slabs that we have at the top of the windows. I didn't realize that we didn't have them, and that will look a lot more normal. So you can kind of see, like, where we want to have the row of stairs, and that's where the drain pipe connects down to, and then it moves down through the porch roof, and it connects in front of the garage down to the ground, just like that. So first of all, we're going to do the garage roof, which is very simple. We just want to stack rows of dark oak wood stairs coming up the front triangular shape of the garage until we hit the top like this. And then we're going to want to place, and it might be easier to grab the real thing, dark oak wood planks. We want to place a row of dark oak wood planks coming towards the back until we are then able to place more stairs and bring the stairs down the back of the garage like this, if that makes sense. So we want to place these stairs coming down the back of the garage like this, very equal to how we did on the front. And I'm going to fill the top of this in using dark oak wood planks. Again, I mean, slabs are, you know, alright, but when we're using quite a few of them, we want to have the real thing. The roof also wants to extend across the right-hand side of the garage, and therefore the entire house. And we want to extend it over and place an additional row of material. And then we want to place upside down stairs underneath the overhanging row so that it looks nicer, pretty much, just like that, looking great. And that'll be the garage, pretty much complete. It looks good there, looking nice. What doesn't look great is the real roof. So the real roof, again, like it's just going to be rows and rows of stairs. In this particular case, we just want to run rows and rows and rows and rows of stairs coming all the way up to the apex of the roof. And this roof is different from the garage in that this roof will connect together like what you'll have at the top of the roof, the apex, the highest point, is you'll just have two back-to-back dark oak wood stairs connected to each other. So you won't have anything like we did for the garage where we have a nice big flat part of the roof. You will, of course, have a pointy peak. And yeah, then we'll be able to run stairs coming down the opposite side. The roof is also a little bit interesting in that we do have... deleted the block. See, eventually, like, you'll not be able to place any more stairs, right? Like this. So you just flip sides and you just build down, pretty much. This roof is a little bit cool in that we do have a small feature in the form of a little chimney, which is going to... We'll place that... I'm placing them sideways, aren't I? We'll place that after we do have the roof complete. So once we have built up these rows coming up and then coming down, we'll then place ourselves some upside down stairs underneath the overhanging parts, and it'll just look good like that. And then what we'll be doing after this is we will be adding small other details just to make the house look a little bit nicer, because it's a very simple house. It's a nice, you know, I do believe it's not a semi-detached. I guess it's a detached house, right? I don't think there's anything connected to this. It's a nice, small, sort of detached house in England. You know, it's not got a huge amount of detail. Do remember to add in the additional stairs on the left and right-hand side. Like, the house itself doesn't have a massive amount of detail itself. But what is kind of cool is the things that you can do to surround the house that really make the house pop. So, like the front garden, it's just a small little detail, but you can add it and you can make it look nice, and you can have a nice shaped path out in front of the house, and you can add bushes and vines and flowers and stuff. And more importantly is the flying car, which is a nice little Easter egg. So that's the right hand side, and we're just going to do the same thing to the left hand side. So it's just little details like that in the back garden and stuff that really add to the house, that really, you know, the more small details that you add, you don't have to add huge massive details, but the more small details that you add, you know, they really do add up and build up, and they really do turn something from looking a bit bland and boring, which is what the house is going to look like once we finish this particular part. And you know, we can just add to it, and we can just turn it into something really special. But we are just doing the trim of the roof on the left hand side of the roof at the moment. It is almost complete, and we are finished with pretty much that, and we do just want to end up with something that should look like this, which, like I said, it's a bit boring and bland at the moment, but we will sort that. we are missing, if we come up to the left-hand side of the roof, somewhere near the top, we are missing a little bit of a chimney. So pick somewhere on the second row of roof, on the left-hand side, maybe like the third block in, maybe the fourth, delete the block. That is not the block I wanted to delete. I want to delete the one just below it and replace it with a light grey concrete, chuck one on top, and then place 2 cobblestone wall on that. That's just a very minor detail that you'll want to add. Just like that. What we're then going to do is we're going to create the driveway. So we're going to grab these stone slabs. We're going to come to the front door. And we want to take the block just left of the front door, which is this one. And we want to dig out, like 5 blocks coming from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. We're then going to, as if we're looking down at the ground, do 5 outward diagonals to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're then going to dig to the right until we can connect to the front right-hand corner of the garage, like this. And this is going to be the area that we are going to turn into a driveway. So this area is going to be dug out and it is going to be replaced using stone slabs. And I'm actually going to do that now rather than later because we are going to be placing a car here. So whether or not you want to make it a magical car, I mean, the only difference really between like this car and any other car, number one, it has the exact same paint job as the flying car from the film, but it does also have like the cobwebs, which are kind of like, you know, like a magical sort of sparkle, which is, I mean, maybe that's not best represented by the cobwebs, but there's nothing that I could really find that like kind of gave the car like a little bit of, you know, a little bit of something. But I don't know, you guys might have some better ideas than me, and you might be able to add something in that you find a bit more suitable for yourselves. But yeah, we're going to be adding the car probably next, and then from there we can build around the house. Or you know what, we'll add the car last, because I'll let you guys decide whether you want to do that or not, and it does take up a bit of time. So far we have a nice driveway. I'm actually going to get rid of that yellow block there, just because it's bugging me a little bit. So, left and right of the house and in the garden, we have some stuff to do. So we're going to grab jungle leaves, we're going to grab some vines, we're going to grab oak saplings, we're going to grab like some pot material, so some like light grey. A good like natural looking pot material is also just regular terracotta. If you don't want to use proper flowers, use bone meal for this next part, but this is what we're going to do. So left of the entrance, I'm going to place a terracotta with a jungle leaf in it. Just right of the entrance, I'm going to place a light grey concrete with a jungle leaf in it. I'm going to create up a bushy area around the front window, just kind of like this, just bushes like that. If you have the room, use some actual flowers, but if you don't, use a couple of bone meal around the front window and try and make it so, I am making a mess, and try and make it so that, you know, you've got mainly flowers involved in this front part, because it is quite well put together, but you do want kind of like a little bit of grass, a little bit of life. You may even choose to add a vine perhaps like in front of this bush, and maybe in front of that bush too. It just kind of adds a little bit of something later on. And they're just small little details that do kind of add to the life of the house. Something else that we're going to do is we are going to add the back gate. So the house has a back gate. So the way that you access the back garden of the house is through a 2x3 acacia plank gate. I think that's how you pronounce it. Acacia, whatever. So come to the left hand side of the house and leave a gap of about 1, 2, and 3, and then you want to place a row of 1, 2, 3 acacia coming out from the left hand side of the house. Add another row to it, then use dark oak wood planks and place a dark oak wood plank left of that. Extend that plank forwards, and this wants to come as far as the front of the driveway. Add another row to the dark oak wood planks. Extend the dark oak wood planks backwards towards the back of the house. They want to come at least as far back as the conservatory, and I'm going to double up on this. I want it to be 2 rows high. And then you've got to decide how big the back garden wants to be, because the back garden is pretty much fiction. Like, we don't 100% know what's back here. So I'm going to make it, say, 12 blocks long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to make 13 because then that means that the back garden is at least 12 blocks long, if that makes sense. I'm going to extend the dark oak wood planks coming across the left, and I'm going to extend them forward. And I actually want the fence itself to come out of the side of the garage by 1 row. So I actually want it to extend out and come out the front of the garage by 1 row. This once again adds a tad bit more detail, makes it look a little bit nicer, a little bit more interesting, and it's not a difficult thing to do whatsoever. And this is just easily marking out the back garden. So you know, what you want to do back here is completely up to you. For some reason, I have in my head that there's like a tree back here. So I'm just going to, I've got my bone meal, I've got my jungle leaves, I've got my oak saplings. We can make a bit of a garden. So like if I chuck an oak sapling back here and I grow it, and then if I just bone meal the back garden like this, I mean, if once again, like you might have to use your imagination here. Like if you know what's in the back garden, if it's detailed like in the books or something, or if there's something that I've missed, then please do add it yourself. But I don't know 100% what is going on back here, so I'm just bone mealing the place. I'm just adding a tree. I don't want to add stuff that's not necessarily there. So once that's been done, the last major detail that you may want to add, because you see that has added quite a lot to the house, right? Does that or does that not look a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit more interesting? Let's add the car. So the car is completely up to you whether you want to add it, but to make it, we need some grey concrete, some stone slabs. We need light blue concrete. We need specifically white concrete, which I'm not sure that we have. We need some like ladders. We need item frames. We need orange concrete. We need some buttons. We're even going to need a little tripwire hooks, and we'll need some more stuff too. So on the front right hand side of the house, preferably within like the confines of the garage, so you might want to like mark up from the right hand side of the garage and come somewhere close to the edge of the driveway, maybe from this block right here, place a grey concrete. Then you want to place a stone slab in front of that, the upper half, go left by 3, 1, 2, 3, move back by 1 using grey concrete. Then place 2 stone slabs going back, 1, 2, grey concrete, stone slab, come across the back of the build, move forwards by 1 using the grey concrete, connect it together using stone slabs, so you can see that we've created a base for the car. We're going to completely fill in the center of the car using light blue concrete because it won't look strange from the outside, pretty much it will look fine if we just do this. We want to take the front 2 center blocks of the car and we want to place ladders in front with item frames in front of the corner blocks of the car and on the left hand sides. We want to place orange concretes to represent indicators on the side of the car with white concretes to represent headlights on the front. On the back of the car, we'll need an additional material, but we also do want item frames on the sides here and on the back of the corners, and we want to place, that's a bit meta, item frame and an item frame, and then an orange concrete inside of the item frames on the sides, and then preferably to represent brake lights, we want red concrete coming out of the backs. We want buttons on the sides of the wheels to make them look more wheel-like. We want to take the second row of the front of the car, which is this row right here, and we want to place white stained glass paint on top of this row. And we want to place light blue concrete coming back from each one of the end panes. We then want to place a glass pane behind this, followed by an additional light blue, connected together at the back with a glass pane, so we've created this sort of shape right here. We then want to place white concrete going all the way around the border of what we've just made, including the top of the row of white stained glass pane at the front. We're then going to fill in the area at the top of the vehicle like this. And to create additional detail, we're going to use tripwire hooks for the doors, which will be in this position where the window is, and in this position as well, like that. We're also going to use signs to create like number plates. Now, I don't really want to like type out a number plate at the moment, but you know, you might want to put something funny, you know, whatever that might be in these signs. And then if you want to add a little bit of like pseudo sparkle to the car, you might want to use a little bit of cobwebbing like this, just kind of like around the car, because it makes it seem ever so slightly more magical. I'd recommend like you know, maybe 1 or 2 at the front, maybe 1 or 2 at the back, something like that. It's completely up to you. I might actually drop the position of that web because I think it's a little bit too high. And that is just like a nice detail to polish off the house. And that's actually it, ladies and gentlemen. We've finished it. It's that's the house 100% fully complete. I'm hoping that you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, please do remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. I honestly would. If you have enjoyed the content, please do remember to hit that like. Helps me out no end. It really does. If you do want to subscribe to the channel and keep up with the builds, then you're free to do that. Hit the subscription button and click the little bell to make sure that you do get all my videos sent directly to your sub box, because otherwise they just won't go straight there. Sometimes you'll get some, you won't get all of them. If you want to leave a comment down below, let me know what you want to see next. Always appreciated, especially if it's cartoon related, movie related, that sort of thing. And as well, of course, if you do want to check out any more of my stuff, this is a cartoon/movie area of my world. You might be able to see all sorts of fancy builds around here. Please check out the card system in the description below. Highly recommend the cartoon builds playlist. That's where you would find this house, so hopefully, you know, you'd be able to find a lot more houses and stuff that you'd want to make in there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.